Our top 8 is here. We are seeing the returning champion, Lee, playing the Archiestoise deck up against one of our other champions, our former champion, in the Mega Rayquaza deck here with Gabriel. Football is hard. Patriots and Saints. Well, Saints not anymore. Not anymore, but... Vikings. I'm sorry. Dang, Clan Burglar came out from the lurk just to shit on my my team affiliation. Respect it. All right, well, we have the Shaman start here for Lee. The rest of the hand is pretty good, though. We have double Acrobikes, we have Ultra Balls, and some energy you can discard. So you're able to go get that Jirachi. Ooh, the third energy draw, though, is pretty unfortunate. That's pretty awkward.
I think because the Ultra Balls, it'll be okay.
Yeah. Mewtwo is not too bad. You can check these Acrobikes first. You have the outs to the Jirachi with that Stellar Guidance. There's always some kind of Stellar with Jirachi, but Falcons fan? All right, I respect that then. I'm sorry. My apologies.
So because of... Okay, there we go. I was going to say, I think they can just... Lee could just Ultra Ball for a Blastoise and then immediately discard it with the Ultra Ball. But now you can get both eggs in bin. You can get your Blastoise in bin. We see the Jirachis in deck. Now it's just a matter of how am I playing all of these cards down in order to take that knockout.
And it's to maximize the efficiency here, right? Because you have these two spots, like the Blastoise is a given. You don't have a VS Seeker in hand, so you have to get the Jirachi to get this Archie off this turn. So what's really going to be your second and third card, right? The Execute makes a ton of sense. It makes your discards a little bit easier to manage since you play so many discarding cards. But now it's something like, do you value this Lysander? Maybe you could... I think the Juniper was already discarded off that first Acrobike, so maybe something like the N, maybe the other copy of the Archie there, or just the... I like the Lysander. I think that's a pretty good card, again, to activate the VS Seeker in your deck, since you are able to, fish out those supporters. And we'll see how Lee wants to piece this together. I mean, we definitely have the Archie here, especially with that Execute now found. So should be able to piece this together. Just depends on how quite they want to do it. And it's actually funny. This is the first time we have featured Archiestoise on the stream today. Lee did come into this top cut as the first overall seed, as the only 5-0. The only undefeated, did actually play out both rounds where they could have just double ID'd into cut, but chose to play it out both times and did take both games. So Lee riding the hot streak here at 5-0. And I think Lee also went undefeated in the last tournament too. So I don't think Lee has actually dropped a series in Riley's Retro that I have seen.
Lee is out for blood in these tournaments. They are coming in here hot. We see some perfect sequencing, really thinking through the actions, and it's going to pay off right here. We're going to get a Keldeo down with an energy. Rough season to play doesn't really matter, but the Jirachi for the Archie's ace in the hole. And additionally, there's, I think, 2 waters in discard.
Right.
So we also have superior energy retrievals being live now.
What a hand, though. We got the computer search off this. Acrobike.
This hand is nuts.
I think you hold this hand for sure. I don't recall if we ended up putting the second Execute. There's at least the 1 in the discard pile, so you can manage some of these, hefty discarding cards a little bit better.
Looks like only the 1.
And that's a card we haven't touched on quite yet. The Propagation Execute, for those of you who aren't familiar, is an absurdly disgusting card. So whenever it's in your discard pile, you can use its ability, and it just says put it back into your hand. The interesting thing about it, though, is that the Execute, because once it hits your hand, it becomes private knowledge. So as far as the game knows, that could be a different Execute, meaning you can reuse that propagation every time it hits the discard pile and then comes back to your hand. You can use it as many times per turn as you want, despite the fact that it says once per turn. So you can totally abuse that. You can keep putting them back into your hand, and you can play these cards like Ultra Ball and Computer Search completely for free because you just discard your Executes. And the Acrobike finding the superior energy retrieval.
Yeah, this is going to get really ugly really fast. Gabriel just having absolutely nothing on his side of the board to answer any of this. And we're going to see here the propagation is just going to be popping off with this Ultra Ball combo.
We could even pull... I don't think there's... It's like, you might be able to get a second Archie here, but I think you would have... If you had the execute, the double execute, you could have potentially gotten there between Computer Search and Ultra Ball. Didn't quite have the cards here. We see the Whale Lord, which we have seen earlier in this tournament in the Stall Whale Lord build, but a little different here.
Yeah, I don't think this Whale Lord's going to come into play very much here.
Yes, eggs just quickly change their identity between each prop. So they just like draw a little mustache on each different, like one egg has it one time and the next time a different egg has it, and they like shuffle around or something, right?
Right. Oh my goodness. And what's so funny is eggs have popped up as an incredibly broken card at different points throughout the game's history.
Right.
First they were in a deck with Empoleon, with Diving Draw, then they found themselves in this Blastoise engine. Then they were in different Zoroark.
Yeah.
Zoro Eggs was incredibly broken for the 1 or 2 tournaments that the cards were legal, where what you would do is you would basically just, you would bench all 4, you would play Hex Maniac, bench all your eggs, then hit with Skyfield for
oh, we haven't even played with Supporter. We can just go in Secret Sword to KO. And down goes this Rayquaza.
Game's over.
Oof. Yeah. Very quickly that way.
What I was saying though with the 4 eggs then is then when your opponent's Sudowoodo roadblock activates, they just get discarded. And so then immediately on the following turn you propagate them all back, play another Hex Maniac, and do it again.
My roommate just came in with some taquitos and I can't hear it because my headphones are super noise canceling. So I just saw a plate in my peripheral vision. I was just scared the crap out of me.
It's a much better streaming snack than what I will be having later, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, we do find a Shaman, so we can't count out this Rayquaza deck. As we mentioned previously, for those of you watching on YouTube, we did mention this previously, that the Rayquaza, Mega Rayquaza, has a ancient trait that allows it to immediately evolve without having to wait a turn for that normal evolution rule. So we can see a Mega Ray hit the board. You can use a DCE attachment with a Spirit Link, and then you can use this Metal Links as well to accelerate the extra energy. So we could actually see a full bench plus a Mega Ray here and taking a KO
would be crazy
on this Keldeo, which would be crazy. I mean, these are 2 of our highest powered decks in this format, and that's why we chose this matchup, because Archiestoise and Mega Rayquaza can just turbo so fast back and forth. Very exciting.
What would be even crazier about this, right, is Hoopa's not a card yet, so you don't have Hoopa plays to basically go grab 2 Shaman and whatever Rayquaza piece you're missing. You just have to be flying through your deck right now. But with the Battle Compressor, we could very well see it, especially with the Floatstone coming in on that Bronzong. The Metal Links could definitely make this kind of big push back into the game here.
And we haven't seen a supporter yet, so this N can come down. We're going to need a lot. Oh, we see this, the DCE attached to the Shaman. A little curious on that one.
Yeah, that does not feel correct.
We can say, you know, go in with Sky Return here, but that doesn't feel very impactful. Like, the damage is kind of irrelevant. I guess it saves your DCE, but now you can't possibly get an attack off this turn. So I don't really agree with that.
You're just putting more and more EXs into play if you're just going to have a passive turn like that. For Lee to be able to VS Seeker and just pull up whatever Pokemon he wants to knock out for 2 prizes.
Right.
And, you know, I could see people saying, oh, he's getting N to 4, like where are the odds he draws a VS Seeker? Well, in a deck like Blastoise, yeah, you have Trainer's Mails, you have Acrobikes, you have Ultra Balls for Shaman, there's a Skyfield in play. Like, the world is your oyster right now.
Not even to mention the thinning you had to do before you do that to get the Archie off. Because you've already used these Battle Compressors, you've already used a lot of these Acrobikes and things that just thin out dead cards. So yes, you have all of these I mean, look at this hand here as a perfect example of that. Like, you have the VS Seeker, you have the Acrobike, the Trainer's Mail. all of these cards are put in here to get that Archie, but they also function late game to draw out of the N. And there's just you look at the sheer volume of cards that have already been thinned out of Lee's deck. And not to mention, you still have a Keldeo with 6 energy on it. That did not really get challenged.
Yeah, the Acrobike for the 2 superiors it feels bad there, but it's definitely not the end of the world. You don't need the energies right now at all, really. And you have a computer search to basically just do whatever you want. This is kind of where we're getting to the point, though, where I wish that Lee had put that second propagation egg in there at some point, just because he would literally be ultra balling or computer searching for free, which seems incredibly
superioring
powerful.
For free. Being able to use the superior for free off of an end 2 potentially. Like if your hand is like superior VS Seeker, you have to discard that VS Seeker off a potential end 2. So, I mean, what is Lee going for here? Like, you could even go for a Battle Compressor here, to be honest. Thin out maybe that N, the other Blastoise, the other Egg. Like, you could thin out all your dead cards off a potential N on the following turn. The energy's a little curious. I'm not sure I understand this one. I guess you did need. No, you did need it. No, you did need it because this Rayquaza has 180 HP. So it was
sneaky Dragon Rayquaza.
Yeah, it would have been 10 damage short to take the KO. So that does make sense. I take it back. And wow, Lee had 2 energy prized. The deck does play, I think it's 11? It's a decent chunk.
Okay.
Somewhere, I don't remember. I'll have to check the list, but it played a decent chunk of energy. So even with the 2 prize, it's not the end of the world. I'm actually going to check this real quick. It's 11. Look at me go.
Let's see here. Another DCE coming down on the Shaman. Jeez.
Yes, this is game 1 still, Stellar.
This is getting out of hand really fast. I mean, I know that we're playing quickly, and it's a best of 3, but you got to be thinking about just going to game 2 at this point with how strong of a start Lee has with 7 energies on Keldeo. Finding the Articuno, now it's like not even necessarily safe to sit there with a 1 prizer anymore because Articuno has that ancient trait that lets you take an extra prize card if you take a knockout.
The attack does require some coin flips, but yeah, and I think like just kind of what to your point there, if you're attaching to Shaman, I feel like you're losing this game anyway based on tempo. Like you can Sky Return and put up a Bronzong here, but like I don't think you're ever winning this game unless you have to go all in for an attack. I feel like on this turn with the Mega Ray. Otherwise, you're not winning the game anyway. Might as well just conserve that time. Like 2 Sky Returns into this Keldeo feels atrocious.
And what math is it really setting you up for, right?
Nothing.
Because Emerald Break's just going to blow it up anyways.
Right.
I don't even think Lee needs to go for this crazy coin flip play here. I just think go to 1 prize. Maybe thin a card out with Trainer's Mail, see if you find the Battle Compressor. But I don't think you need to do anything here.
I wouldn't hate benching the Articuno just because it's 1 less card you draw. Wow, Town Map. You don't see that too often in Archiestoise.
Did he sacrifice the Bronzong that had the Float Stone on it?
He did, yeah. Very interesting decision there.
That seems very incorrect. I'm going to go pull up this Archiestoise list and see what came out for the Town Map. Maybe a Startling Megaphone was the cut.
Did it play Megaphone? I don't think it played Megaphone.
No. Let me go pull up the Worlds list.
I don't think Jacob played any Tool Denial. I don't think so, because you can't. Those are dead cards on a turn 1 Archie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Something just fell in my room.
Cat, sorry for any of the bonking in the background. My cat has been terrorizing me during this game.
Cat's name is Finny, right?
Yep. The one, the only. Looks like he cut up Pokemon. Which one though?
Was it maybe a Mewtwo? Did it play 2 Mewtwo?
No, it only played the one Mewtwo. Oh, it looks like Lee's only playing one Jirachi. Maybe he only has one on PTCGO.
Those are pretty tough to find, to be honest. They're like, I don't think you see those too often on trades because they're we talked about this earlier, but because you can level ball for that Jirachi. They're pretty expensive, and there is a concession, so not really a surprise, but game 1 will go to lead there.
I do want to point out for anyone at home, Magnechu with Primal Groudon is moving on to the top 4, defeating Samuel G, Archiestoise.
I see a Groudon in top 4. Love to see that. We did feature
I
Groudon
love
earlier.
To see that.
Yeah, we love Groudon. It'd actually be really cool to see, like some of the... We're missing the Kyogre. We do have 2 of the big, Megas and Primals in this top 8. We're just missing Kyogre. We do have the other 2 in this Rayquaza and the Groudon.
As the Groudon icon, we can definitely keep the Kyogre at home.
Yeah. Not sure if there was a pass here. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Sometimes you get like sucked into the thing and you forget to do the, oh yeah, I got a pass here.
Right. This
here we are.
Insane.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Battle Compressor is nuts with the computer search, and unless he just like draws, I don't know, something completely unplayable, I don't see how you don't get this out.
No, I think it's impossible because you can always, between Battle Compressor for Execute and Computer Search for Ultra Ball, I'm pretty sure it's actually impossible to whiff it here. I could be completely wrong, but like looking at this, I'm pretty sure that you can like always get cards off of the Computer Search that discard. As long as the Jirachi's not prized, I guess.
I was just about to say that, unless we're missing that Jirachi.
Yeah, if the Jirachi's prized, I guess we could also have prized both Archies. There are only 2 copies of Archie's Ace in the Hole in this deck. There are only 2 copies of the Blastoise as well. So you do run the risk of potentially, prizing both copies of one of your very important things. What's going on, Trainer Red? Welcome in. We're watching some top 8 of my Riley's Retro tournament, so I'm not playing, but thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you coming in. Hope you're doing well as well.
And talking about the prizings there, I think, I'm trying to think if Jacob even had any stream games where there were 2 Archies prized, right? Like, it's something you talk about in theory, but it doesn't necessarily happen all the time.
Well, and the thing that you can still do is, like, Keldeo still does damage. Like, you can just manually attach 3 times to a Keldeo if you ever, given that time, or you can attach twice to a Mewtwo. Like, attaching your energy manually feels horrendous. And wow, the end, though, ending away that beautiful hand.
Still playable, depending.
Yeah, it depends on the top deck plus this Trainer's Mail target. And it will be interesting to see. I think you probably want to go for this Battle Compressor first, ideally, but you could check the Trainer's Mail to see if you get something like a VS Seeker that makes your Battle Compressor a lot more informed. And a second Trainer's Mail off the top. So Trainer's Mail is great playing this first. You get the Ultra Ball or the Archie. That's a tough one.
I think
Ultra Ball makes sense. Here, yeah.
You have too many unplayable cards where if you don't take the Ultra Ball there, you get yourself into a weird situation where you have to like play superiors, and I think now you're basically set with this hand here. You have enough juice to discard to get yourself there.
I think you have to get rid of an Execute here, if not both. Yeah, because you need to Ultra Ball away one of these water energies to play the superior energy retrieval. But also, you can't discard too many cards. I guess, can you do it? I'm trying to look at the hand again. Ultra Ball away, like, a water superior. Actually, no, you could just go Ultra Ball away a water superior, attach to the Articuno, and bench it. Yeah. So, you don't even have to do it that way. You can just go like this, and we will see the turn 1 Archies.
You're kind of opening yourself up to a situation, right, where depending on what happens with this Bronzer or wherever this damage ends up going here, you could see yourself using that Articuno, whatever its attack is, to take a knockout, but not
Tri-Edge.
Exactly.
It is Tri-Edge.
Tri-Edge, thank you. I know it says flip 3 coins. I don't know anything
it's
beyond
20,
that it does 20 plus 40.
20 plus 40 for each head's Tri-Edge, yeah. And I like this, the Sky Return into the Articuno. So you're staring down. There is a Mega Rayquaza with an energy already on it on your opponent's bench. So, oh, you need judge assistance real quick? I will hop over. What's going on?
Okay, chat. I will keep talking while Riley sorts out this judge call. So what I was thinking of doing in my head, is we know this Mega Ray's coming up. We know that that's what's going to be attacking. So the question is how much damage does this Keldeo have to deal, or how many energy does this Keldeo have to have on it in order to deal with a Mega Ray? And so you need 9 energy on there to hit 230 to deal with the Mega Ray. And chat, please correct my math. I might have an accounting degree, but I certainly am bad at math. But I think you need 9 energy in order to get there with Sacred Sword.
That sounds right. That's 180 plus 50.
Yeah, so 230.
That's 230, and it has 220, I think, is the HP on that. There's also Muscle Band in this deck, I believe, in the Archiestoise deck. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you could potentially get there with 8 in a Muscle Band.
Yeah, I believe the list always runs 1 Muscle Band, 1 Float. So which makes sense because you do want to have not run too many tools, because they do become dead cards early game if you don't have enough Pokemon in play to attach them to.
Okay, cool. So they are all set. Apparently there was just they had to fix a match because there was a forgetting of the pass. So all is sorted out. No game losses had to be issued or anything. So they are all set going into game 2 over there. One of our other matches. I think that was Cal and Erupt were playing there, and Cal did take game 1, I believe. Yes. And we do also have Gabe Shumway on the other Primal Groudon is up 1-0 over Vaughn, who is playing the Toadbat. So we could have 2 Primal Groudons in top 4.
I mean, that is a pretty good matchup for Primal Groudon, as we saw earlier in the stream. You need a lot to go right for you as the Seismitoad player to pull that out.
And the greedy content creator in me is like, well, if Gabe wins, if we get Lee to win, and we have Cal to win, that's like we should have a guaranteed stream for the rest of the day. So,
and this has the potential to be an incredibly strong turn here from Lee. You have the potential to battle compressor away water energies, find a ton of cards. Maybe, I doubt you're going to get all 9 energies on this Keldeo to take a knockout, but you certainly have the opportunity to pick off one of these bench Shaman with the right draw off of the Shaman.
Do we ever go for the crazy high roll with double heads on Tri-Edge, take the KO on the active here? It does only have 100 HP left.
So knowing myself, I would say no, because I'm one to go 0 for 6 on like Sneasel beat up in base Neo. But knowing how an average player's luck goes, I could see him potentially going for it. I don't think it's a
2
bad
out of
play
3.
because, yeah, and I mean you leave up a single prizer, so you force Gabriel to have the Lysander.
I mean, I guess the only potential problem with that though is if you whiff that energy commitment, that damage is largely irrelevant. But I do like the idea of keeping a 1 prizer in the active, like you said, forces the Lysander.
We'll see what he goes for here. I think because you have that second Keldeo, I think just targeting down the Shaman is fine, but we are gonna go for it.
Oh, this has to be Lee doing this for the stream content. I'm so here for it. Y'all are we're gonna pop off. I'm so excited to see this. And we're charging up the Wailord too, and the Tri-Edge. Here we go. Heads, tails. No.
Ooh.
So close, so close. Oh, the first one being heads too is such a tease.
Right.
But I mean, I respect it. I respect it from Lee. Honestly, Lee's kind of playing with main character energy right now.
I mean, he knows that everything is on his side, going 5-0 into this.
Yeah.
I mean, for all we know, something crazy can happen. He could still pull this out. This game and not even need a game 3. It's all very possible.
Well, and going with the Wailord is interesting because we talked about this before, but the Rayquaza can only hit for 240 damage, and Wailord has 250. So Wailord actually cannot be knocked out, and since obviously there needs to be a Spirit Link on this Rayquaza to... and wow, we see the Lysander on the Blastoise, though. This could be tough. But just to finish that thought really quickly, that Wailord is not... It cannot possibly get KO'd by a Mega Rayquaza, was my point there, so... impossible for that. Ooh. But just the Lysander stall, so that's a little bit different. Now we can rush him with his Keldeo, at the very least. I'm not sure what supporters we have access to, though.
I think there's a Juniper in bin. I think Lee Battle Compressored away a Juniper, so he has the potential to dig pretty deep here to find whatever he wants. It's going to take 3 more energy on this. No, 2 more energy on this Keldeo, because it's 50 plus 20, which he finds, no question, of course.
See the town man
up. He's just going to look here with the Acro Bike. Going to discard the Muscle Band. I think that's probably fine. I mean, it's 1 less water you need. It's not really that much of a concern, just based off of having those 2 supers in hand. We know that the 2 eggs are in bin, so world is just whatever Lee wants it to be. We're all living in it, and he's about to Secret Sword knock out this Shaman.
So it's kind of a funny thing. We saw this Shaman come up instead of keeping the Heatran in the active, which I think is kind of funny because you're like, well, I don't want this to give up 2 prizes to the Articuno, so I'm gonna send up my 2 prize Shaman instead.
Right.
Which is, I think, pretty comical. I guess the Heatran is an attacker at the very least, so it does make a little bit of sense, and it forces something instead of, like, out of the Keldeo instead of the Articuno at the very least.
Right, and also it leaves the 2 prizer in the active now, which is pretty huge.
Right, it kind of baited out that Keldeo, which is that's a good thing for Gabriel. If we want to try to come back in this one, come up and take a KO on this Keldeo, combine it with something like an N perhaps, and you put up your big Mega Rayquaza that it's going to be really hard for, I think you mentioned it was the 9 energy or 8 in a Muscle Band to take the KO, the one shot with the Keldeo. Seems pretty unlikely.
Right, so I mean, just conserve your superiors, conserve your VS Seekers for Lysander. Wailord does 120 with, I think the attack is high breaching.
Yep.
And that will take a knockout on a Shaman, which there's 2 in play currently.
Yeah, we could see Wailord getting in there and attacking this game, which I don't think I've ever seen that with this Archiestoise deck.
And Wailord, the attack is so bad. It puts you to sleep. Wailord is so big.
And it costs 5 energy, too. The attack costs 5 energy.
Right. So, I mean, there's just so many ways I feel like that Lee can close this one out. And I would love it if Wailord got in there for 4 prize cards.
Yeah, and we could definitely see it. Again, it does not get KO'd by an Emerald Break, even for the maximum damage of 240. So it's kind of a safe thing to attack with, really. There's no way it can get KO'd.
Right. I think that's probably the best play, because then if you get End, you still have a ton of energies and attackers to work with. Looks like he's going to go into the Keldeo here, which makes sense because he has a Float Stone in hand. See what you get off the draw, which you find another water. Probably going to see a Propagation after this Battle Compressor, just thinning out cards you don't want to see off of an N later on.
It's funny, I was like, are there even any supporters left in the deck to get with the Jirachi? There is a Juniper left, though, so maybe keep the Juniper and the Jirachi around so you can get those off a potential N on the following turn.
Right, I think that's the correct play, because Rough Seas is really the only dead card in the deck, and now I'm going back to my days playing Night March, where every time I played a late game Battle Compressor, it was, what cards can I draw that will cause me to lose immediately if I get End, and get those out of the deck.
See, I actually, yeah, I like this. Yeah, I like the selection here. I kind of almost like keeping the Rough Seas around, though, because you do want to counter the Sky Fields. Just, one more way to mitigate the damage output of that Rayquaza. So, like, while the Rough Seas is a dead card, it's kind of weird because I feel like you don't... Like, you still want to have the option to counter the stadium, but like, if we're going in with the Wailord here, or, trying to take this clean one-shot, maybe you're just thinking, like, well, I'm never going to need it. Only have 7 cards left in deck as well, and how many energy are in the discard pile? Can we actually get the one-shot here? Only 3, so definitely not.
Yeah, I think Lee's just going to go with, ironically, the more conservative 5 energy Wailord as opposed to the 9 energy Keldeo here.
Well, we have the VS Seeker to go Lysander up a Shaman too, so you can do this to take 2 prizes and throw up your biggest wall in that Wailord. And kind of diversify your threats with energy spread on multiple different Pokemon here. And that's what we see. Grab that Lysander and bring up the Shaman most likely. Take a knockout with high breaching.
Here it is.
And Wailord is now asleep.
Love it. And so definitely going to take the water. Definitely going to take the Acrobite here. You're just taking live cards, I think. And because now you have the 3 energies on that Articuno, you're just 1 VS Seeker away from knocking out this Heatran for the win, if the Shaman is Sky Returned up off the board.
Right. And again, this Wailord can't go down, so if you play Lysander to go around the Wailord, you're not playing an N. But if you play an N, you're not getting around the Wailord, so it's kind of a... I mean, again, we kind of joked about it, but this Wailord is actually, like... the best thing in this situation, because it doesn't get knocked out, but it still has the threat potential of taking the game on the following turn. So we see the Lysander up of the Blastoise. We could see this just getting knocked out. But, I mean, Lee just wins with a VS Seeker at this point, and we have Trainer's Mail plus Acrobike plus the top deck. So I think that's actually just guaranteed game between the 6 cards you see off that combination plus the top deck. You see your entire deck guaranteed.
And, knowing how Lee's been playing this game, he'll probably just immediately top deck the VS Seeker for the win. But he also has a computer search in deck, so, like you said, he can see the whole deck, or if he just finds the computer search immediately, just slam it down and, and end the game right there. There's no way he loses at this point.
Right. We do see the KO.
Comes off the board.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, right?
Computer search off the top will do it too. Again, I'm pretty sure it was guaranteed. Mathematically, we could see the entire deck there. So there was not a combination of cards that Lee could have seen that did not just end in the game. But like you said, Wailord taking 4 prizes with high breaching. Absolutely incredible stuff. And our defending champion Lee will move on to the top 4.